Do you ever feel like you're working hard, but your bank account never seems to grow? Or you just got a raise and it feels like you're in the same place as before you even got the raise? Let's talk about why. First and foremost, as everyone's been feeling, inflation. It sucks. I feel it. You feel it. The rising cost of living is really making it hard for a lot of us to save money. If you were struggling to save before inflation, I'm sure you're struggling even more now. And it's so disheartening and so difficult when you're trying your best to put one foot forward and it feels like you're getting pushed 2 steps back. The cost of living, housing costs, food costs, everything is crazy. I don't know where you live, but in Canada, the price of houses is insane. Unless you bought a house in 2019 or before 2019, getting into the housing market is near impossible and it's so expensive. So saving for a house is something that takes such a long time and it's very disheartening, and I'm sure it's the same where you live, or maybe it's very similar. And same with food. We all want to eat food that we like, and preferably healthy food, and it's so pricey. So when all of these costs that we need food, we need housing, is so expensive, where is the extra money for savings? For most of the world, inflation has outpaced wage growth, which means that if inflation is 3%, most people are getting 2% or 1% wage growth, if you even got a raise. A lot of people aren't getting raises. So how can you save when everything is going up and your salary is not even going to match that? That means that if you were saving $200 a month and then things are getting more expensive, you could be saving zero or getting into debt every single month. A lot of people blame only inflation on why they're not able to save. And you know, for some people that may be the case. So if that's your case, I am not saying that this next fact is about you, but the fact is a lot of people spend money buying things that they don't need to impress people they don't like. So people get into debt to try to impress people, or to get into debt to buy things they want. And that's another reason why it can be really difficult to save. There are so many marketing tactics. There's so many billboards. There's so many ads that tell you that you need to buy things to feel fulfilled. But I promise you that item's not going to make you feel better about yourself, and that item's not going to make you happy. All of those things come from within. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy things, because truly things can make us happy temporarily. And if it's something that we use every day, you know, it can make us happy. It won't make us happy long term. So buying something thinking that it's like the eternal happiness factor and that's just going to make me happy for the rest of my life is not the case. So if you're struggling to save and you're buying a lot of things that you want and going out and getting into debt for things that you don't need, you really need to consider your habits and try to change them so you're able to save a bit more money. If you're buying every single thing you want right now, or close to everything you want right now, you are putting your financial future in jeopardy. It's important to have a balance, but if you're really struggling to save, I'd recommend doing a low buy or no buy, which I have many videos on my channel about, and learning how to balance what you need, what you want, and cutting out things that you don't need for a small period of time, just so you can reset your mindset and be able to save a bit more. Another reason you might not be able to save is lifestyle creep. If you've never heard of lifestyle creep, the simplest way to understand it is when your income goes up, your spending goes up as well. So instead of saving the extra money you make from a raise, you put that money towards your life and spending on things you want. The big issue with lifestyle creep is not a one-off purchase. It's not, oh, I got a raise and I'm gonna go buy this one thing. It's the continual lifestyle creep that comes up. For example, if you're to buy a new house because you got a raise, or you're going and spending more on rent, or you get a bigger car, a more expensive car, a higher car payment, all of those things are lifestyle creep, and that can really financially drain you. Whether that means you're going to better grocery stores or bigger vacations, or spending money that you didn't think you wanted to spend on things that you don't really want just to impress people. That's another thing too, to show off that, oh, look, I'm making this much money, so I have to have this type of car, or this type of house, or this type of clothing. All of that is lifestyle creep, and you want to be really careful whenever you get raises or switch jobs or get a promotion to not let yourself fall prey into lifestyle creep. The best way to not get into lifestyle creep is to not do any big purchase decisions until 6 months after your raise, or 6 months after you get an influx of money or your lifestyle financially changes. For example, I wouldn't recommend changing your car for 6 months after you get a raise unless it's necessary. I think not inflating your lifestyle at least for 6 months is extremely important, because then you can actually first save and realize, okay, this money is able to go into savings before inflating my lifestyle. So instead of buying a new car, you're putting that money into saving. Of course, it depends. Sometimes you get a raise and you're finally able to afford to save, or you're finally able not to live paycheck to paycheck. So it really depends on where you're starting financially and what your raise is, but make sure that you don't fall prey to lifestyle creep, because you don't need to spend more money if you're happy happy with how your life is right now. If you're struggling to save, another thing you should be aware of is your emotions. Sometimes it can be really easy to spend money when we're happy or we're sad or we're feeling certain emotions. It can be very easy to say, oh, I'm sad, I deserve this item, or oh, I'm happy, I want to buy this, or I want to go out and do this. You really have to be aware of your emotional triggers when it comes to spending. Understand the habits you have around buying things so then you can change your habits and save more for the future. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, economic factors come into play when you're not able to save. If you're working a minimum wage job that doesn't give you raises, or if you're working a salary job that doesn't give you raises or doesn't bring up your income, that can be a reason why you're not able to save. With inflation being so high and everything becoming more expensive, if you're not making a small percentage more every single year, it can be very difficult to keep your lifestyle how it is, save as much as you want, or just not get into debt. If you've been working somewhere for a very long time and they are not giving you a raise, I would recommend looking for other jobs. Of course, be very cautious dependent on your industry. Some industries may be harder to find jobs in, so maybe you do want to stay at your job, or maybe you want to do a side hustle instead and do something on the side instead of getting a fully new job if it's hard to find jobs in the industry that you're working in. Something that makes it very difficult to save money is fixed expenses. But I'm not talking about housing, and I'm not talking about food or any of those things that you must pay. I'm talking about debt. If you are in debt, having those fixed debt payments every single month can make it very difficult to save money. It can be very difficult when you're spending $600 on your credit card bill every single month and you're not able to put that money towards savings. Interest payments eat into the potential savings that you could have in your budget. So it's very important to do your best to get out of debt as much as possible and focus on that first. If you are someone that has a boatload of debt or even a small amount of debt, it's important to prioritize getting out of that, because then when that payment is gone, you can take all of that money and put it towards savings. I will have a video coming out soon on how to pay off your debt and tips and tricks on that. But for now, try your best to put extra money towards your debt so you can get out of it quicker and so you don't have a payment looming over your head every single month that you have to pay. In this day and age, it is so easy to be influenced. We have our phones in our pocket. We hear things all the time. We go out to the mall and grocery shopping even, and you can hear ads. If they're not playing music, they're playing something else. And it can be so easy to be tempted to buy things. Being influenced 24/7 makes it very, 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 very difficult to save money sometimes. So what I'd recommend is make sure that when you pick up your phone, you're looking at things that influence you positively. Look at content that makes you want to save money if that's what you want to have and that's what you want to prioritize right now in your life. It's really important to fill your social media and YouTube and anything you watch with positive influence. Almost everyone is trying to sell you something, but you have to understand what's best for you. It's not necessarily bad that content creators are doing this because it's their job. It's how they make money. And sometimes it's beneficial and they show you a product that actually might enhance your life and make your life better. But you are the judge of that. You should not listen to what someone says and just blindly buy it. You should put more emphasis on getting yourself educated on things that you buy and not being influenced or feeling FOMO about the new trends. You should really just focus on buying things that you know you'll love and not just buy something because you feel like everyone else is buying it and you're not. So I'd really recommend making sure that all the influencers and the content you watch benefit you in the life stage that you're in right now. Maybe in the future when you have more money, you'll want to watch people that are giving you fashion advice or talking about certain things you want to buy. But maybe right now you want to watch financial content and people talking about underconsumption or de-influencing you. And hopefully my channel will help you as well, because I plan on continuing making financial content to help you with your financial future and your finances currently. The average American has less than $1,000 saved, which is crazy because if there's an unexpected expense, it could be more than $1,000. I would recommend making sure that you have an emergency fund as well when it comes to saving and investing and doing all of those things, because having an emergency fund means that if you have unexpected expenses, you don't have to get into debt or take from your savings. An emergency fund is a type of savings fund, but it's a bit different than your savings or your investing for your future. It's something that if something happens, I can pull from this fund and not ruin my savings for the month and not ruin my credit score because I decide to take out lots of credit to be able to afford to cover this expense. Unexpected expenses is something else that can make it really hard to save. And to be truthful, the thing that makes it the most hard to save is your finances, how much money you bring in. If you truly are cutting down, you buy nothing, you don't go out to eat, you don't buy fun things, you just buy groceries, rent, and bills, and you have nothing left over, you're gonna have to make more money. And I know that's very difficult. And it's not going to happen overnight, and it takes time. But you need to understand that if that's the circumstance you're in a scary position. If you have no money to save, if there's an unexpected expense, if you don't have an emergency fund, not a lot of people are in the circumstance where there's nothing left that they can cut out. So I just wanted to mention that in case there are some people watching this right now that really are struggling and they've cut everything out. Sometimes it really is an income thing and you have to make more money. But for a lot of us, it really does have to do with what we're spending. We may just be buying things that we don't need and considering them needs, and buying and continually consuming things and not being able to save. You have to ask yourself, if you're buying something, if that's more important than it is to save for the future. And that's your choice, because I can't save for you. Your friends can't save for you. You can choose what you spend and not spend on. And before buying something, you have to ask yourself if you're really going to use it, or if it's just something trendy and you want to fit in. But remember, you're never going to keep up with the trends because they're constantly changing. So it's important for you to save for your financial future, because your financial future matters the most to you, and you need to prioritize it so you can have the life that you want. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I'd love to know how your savings are going, or if you feel like it's so hard for you to save. I have tons of videos on my channel about saving money, and I'll definitely be putting out more. Also, if you're interested in financial content, I post every single week. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye!